What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages? Joker back again, once again. And today, people, we've got something new coming to the channel, something I've wanted to try for a while. So this will be the pilot episode of a little segment I want to call Lore on the Rocks. The idea is basically, I get tossed and try my damnedest to recant the lore of any given topic. It could be Warhammer, it could be Halo, but today, it will be Destiny. And I am interested in working with other lore content creators on this project because what's better than one lore master getting drunk, multiple lore masters getting drunk, and nerding out about their favorite lore universes. Anyways, with that preamble out of the way, tonight our drink of choice is an oldie but a goodie. 2 shots of vodka and Red Bull. But the real drink of the night, the MVP, is a drink that I had when I was out enjoying some spicy chicken ramen with my amazing, wonderful, beautiful wife. This drink, at least on their menu, is called a Cherry Blossom. It consists of 3 olives, cherry vodka, grenadine, and 7-Up, garnished with a maraschino cherry and a lemon. If you are of responsible drinking age, give it a try and let me know in the comments below. But with that out of the way, let's dive in to the story of Destiny. The complete story of Destiny. As many of you may know, Destiny takes place 700 years from now. If you didn't, well, now you know. Well, technically, in the most technical sense, Destiny takes place 700 years from 2013, 2014-ish. The events of Destiny start popping off when a big ball of cosmic creation ejaculation, no really, go look it up, comes to the Sol system. This big ball of cosmic creation ejaculation, or Moon X, or the Traveler, would propel humanity into an unparalleled time of technological advancements. Lifespans would triple, hunger would vanish, everything would be awesome. And we would call this the Golden Age. And it would last until it didn't. Dun dun dun! Lightning crackle, lightning crackle, lightning crackle. For you see, the Traveler had an ancient enemy, the Darkness, which apparently hunted it across the universe because it had nothing better to do. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. See, in this Golden Age, humanity would flourish, like I said, until we didn't. But in the time that we did flourish, human minds would be converted to robot bodies. These neo-humans would be called the Exos. And at some point, a hive army invaded Mars, but Rasputin had it and he froze them. But it was never mentioned until it was. And then, at some point during this time, we also encountered the Vex. Now, this was perplexing for the Ishtar Collective because, well, they thought they were in a simulation. Because the Vex was simulating a simulation of them simulating the simulation with them in the simulation of him simulating their simulation with them simulating the simulation in the simulation. And at this time, they were not playing nice with Braytech, but Braytech had Rasputin. But apparently they reconciled their differences to make sure that nobody was simulating a simulation within a simulation so that they could be in a simulation. So Rasputin said, nah man, you're not in a simulation. I got you fam, it's cool. Except Destiny is a video game, so Rasputin is a fucking liar because everything that happens in the simulation is a simulation. And if a civilization has evolved enough to be able to create simulations, we're probably already in a simulation, which explains some of the limitations on reality, like the speed of light and how nothing can go faster than it. But that is a conversation for another time. Anyways, like I said, humanity flourishes for a couple hundred years, and then the Traveler's ancient enemy, the Darkness, appears. Which apparently had nothing to do with that hive army that Rasputin froze, or the Vex, but whatever. Anyways, it finds and attacks the Traveler and all of the Sol system. During this attack, colony ships would be in space, and other colony ships would try to flee Earth. These colony ships and these people that were already out in space would wash up in the asteroid belt, forever changed, and they would become the Awoken. The ensuing battle between the light and darkness would result in the collapse. Presumably, billions would die and humanity would be set back to the technological Stone Age, scavenging the remains of what we once were. This time would be called the Dark Age. This is when Guardians would start to appear and humanity would struggle to survive in nomadic bands. Many would migrate to seek shelter under the crippled Traveler. Warlords would rise, and this risen army would fight enclaves of Guardians and humans, and they would kill and protect people in equal measure, and eventually one enclave would rise, and they would be known as the Iron Lords. The Iron Lords would go on a campaign of either uniting the Warlords under their banner and ideals, or slaughtering them viciously. And then at some point during this Dark Age, the Fallen and the Cabal appear in the Sol system, the Cabal take Mars and the Buried City, and the Fallen just kind of infest everything else like a bunch of spider cockroaches. We then fast forward a bit to the City Age. Now the City Age is divided up between a couple of ages because we all know that you like ages in your ages. So you have the early City Age, the middle City Age, and the late City Age. So according to my notes, which I have very, very few of, the key events in the early City Age in loose, very, very, very loose chronological order, because we don't actually know the chronological order of events in the Destiny universe outside of a really good, educated guess. So we have the Raising of the Walls, the Faction Wars, the emergence of a Titan named Razilazir, who would help unite Guardians and end the faction wars and help Guardians to focus all of that pent-up vexual tension on the Fallen. And I'm sure nothing bad will ever happen to Razilazir. I'm sure he'll get the girl, he'll have a nice house with a picket fence, he'll live the dream, he'll be the Titan Vanguard, or the Vanguard of all Vanguards, he'll rise to the top of the consensus, which would be formed later on, but he would be awesome, and nothing bad would ever happen to him. And at some point during the early City Age, the consensus would be formed, a theocratic governing body, which means it's governed by religious doctrine, headed by the Speaker, a religious zealot who is off his fucking rocker. And one bad day from running around in nothing but his mask, screaming, "I am the consensus!" Also, the Hive would be doing something about landing cedar ships on Earth, and Toland would be exiled from the last safe city on Earth because he got a little freaky deaky when it came to the Hive. Look, I'm not saying that Toland was into dead girls, I'm just saying I would not be surprised in the least bit if this was Toland's favorite song.
No pain and there's no pressure, no verbal humiliation, there's no fear, there's no shame, there's no pulse. So is it so strange that girls like me can't you see?
So we move on to the early City Age, where the key events, according to my notes, are the Battle of Six Fronts, where Osiris is such a colossal badass and tears up so much fallen ass that he is appointed to Vanguard Commander. The Iron Lords stumble upon some old Clovis Bray research. I'm sure absolutely, positively, nothing will go bad with that. Oh!
In the years after the collapse, the world had no guardians. It had only Iron Lords. Immortal, fearless, we fought to protect the survivors of a once great age. Our battle was about more than crawling back from the shadows. The Iron Lords would give humanity back its future. Some know the legend, but no one truly knows how the Iron Lords died their final deaths. That was something you had to be there for, to witness, to remember, to know even heroes can die, and survival is not always a victory. Now I am the lone sentry, and my watch is eternal, waiting for the day when whatever we disturbed awakens. The Iron Lords are gone, but our fight is far from over.
You win some, you lose some. Lady Yolder's makeup, however. Damn, son. She's like my wife if she was a Titan and not a Warlock. Them wings? That mascara? That was on point, yo. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. She cute. Like, I wouldn't kick her out of bed for Titan slamming, is all I'm saying. Or shoulder charging. You know, neither would my wife, actually. Anyways, moving forward to the Middle City Aid. This is where Kabir, Kashish Kebab made his attempt on the Vault of Glass. It went bad. It went bad for everyone involved. People were erased from time. Other people were turned into shields. They carved their ghost. They drank of the oracles. It was bad. It was really, really bad. And Praedyth, my motherfucking boy Praedyth, oh fuck, man, he's like imprisoned inside time and space. It's bad. This raid on the Vault of Glass went foobar real fast, real quick. They got to the Templar. They wiped at the Templar. They wiped at the Templar. I've soloed the Templar. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I'm just. They were not high enough light level. There were a bunch of fucking scrubs expecting a carry when they LFG'd, and it didn't happen. No one knew how to do the Vault of Glass. Sometime during, before, or after this, Osiris began to tire. I guess Osiris was trying to get DFA, but Strike Loot is apparently fucking broken because there's no other explanation. How many times does a motherfucker have to grind for fucking DFA and not get fucking DFA? And nobody in the party gets DFA. If I didn't get DFA, okay, fine, whatever. You know what? It is what it is. But like a weekend and nobody in my party gets DFA? Fuck that and fuck your loot drops. Apparently, Osiris was also very unhappy with his unproductive sessions with the Cryptarchy. This was before the patch in Destiny 1 where your purples didn't turn into fucking blues. You motherfuckers think you got it bad in Destiny trying to get what you fucking want? Yeah, fuck it. Let's go back to like year 1, week 1. Your fucking purples turn into blues. You don't know hard. You don't know struggle. You don't know the rage of a beast. Also, apparently, according to the comic books, this is only a couple of decades before the start of Destiny 1. Anyways, so seeing this, the speaker, the religious madman zealot from before, decided, you know what? I'm gonna make Osiris my apprentice. What possibly could go wrong? Well, apparently the two had a falling out, and a cult started following the teachings of Osiris. Osiris then, trying to correct this cult mentality, writes a book. The speaker gets really, really pissy over this book, and he's all like, "But I am the consensus. Burn the books. Burn the heresy. We will exile Osiris. Exile the heretic. Burn the witch. Burn the witch." So you can kind of see how this would be an issue. And on top of all the other lore fuck-ups that the comic book does, they decide that suddenly, magically, Osiris, and check this shit, leaves as banished before the Battle of Twilight Gap. You fucking what, mate? Yeah, so the Osiris lore had previously said that Osiris was banished after the Battle of Twilight Gap. But, you know, hey, fuck the lore. It doesn't matter, right? Am I right? Am I right? It's all folklore. Folk your lore. Oh god, I hate the writers on Destiny. Anyways, so this exile of Osiris would split the city. Brother against brother, sister against sister, husband against husband, wife against wife, wife against husband, husband against wife, something or other. And people would leave in droves. Also, at the Battle of Twilight Gap, humanity's darkest hour. Anna fucking Bray. Anna fuck mothering Mary Sue Bray decides, you know what, this is a great time to fake my death. You know, I'm only one of the best hunters who have ever existed, but you know what, fuck my fire team, fuck everybody else, I'm up out, because reasons. And in humanity's darkest hour, in the moment where the Fallen decided to gangbang the city like a bunch of big dick daddies in the ways of old, Anna Bray thinks, you know, this would be a great time to fake my death. Humanity doesn't need me. This isn't its darkest hour. We wouldn't, you know, only be saved by the skin of our teeth, which teeth do not have skin, by the Queen of the Awoken, who is right now stopping the House of Wolves and engaged in the Reef Wars. As the Battle of Twilight Gap is happening, and a bit before the Awoken of the Reef ally with the Nine, they attack the House of Wolves. This starts the Reef Wars. The Reef Wars have a lot of Fallen politics and moving and infighting and a bunch of important bits, which we'll eventually cover on this channel, but the TLDR is Skolas becomes the Kell of House Wolves, and Varix the Loyal, the last member of House Judgment, betrays Skolas to the Queen. Also, sometime after this, mopping up the last of the rebels of the House of Wolves, Petrovenge goes into exile because she killed 9 Guardians and their ghost. Also, Saint 14 goes on a crusade to kill the Kell of House Devils, and then is tasked by the Speaker, the religious madman Zealot, to stop and or assassinate Osiris, because Osiris was meddling with Vex Tech. Then we move to the late City Age. So, continuing the amazing choices made by the consensus, we have the Battle of Burning Lake. The Hive make first contact with Guardians, and Guardians have heavy losses, but even after the heavy losses at the Battle of Burning Lake, the consensus goes, you know what would be a great idea? Let's go ahead and take back the moon. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, Guardians of all ages, say it with me. What's the worst that could happen? Oh wait, the Great Disaster happens. In the Great Disaster, Guardians try to reclaim the moon from the Hive. The Hive Prince Crota, taking umbrage with hundreds if not thousands of Guardians just suddenly showing up on his doorstep to evict him, says, nah, fuck that shit, and cleaves them with his sword, killing them all. Among the dead is a Titan named Wei Ning. Wei Ning, the lesbian lover of Ariana 3 and my spirit animal, because I too, when confronted with the darkness, will punch that as well. Anyways, after things go predictably tits up, the Vanguard retreat and declare the moon off limits. However, seeking to avenge their lost allies, but particularly seeking to avenge her lost lover, Ariana 3 gathers a ragtag crack team of Guardians, including Eris Morn, Vel Tarlo, Omar something or other, Saimoda, and Toland, the dead girls like me, shattered. And this fire team goes and they try to assassinate Crota. It goes about as well as expected because they're not us and we have to go clean up Eris Morn's sloppy seconds. To this fire team's credit, they do kill Crota's physical form. However, that's like hitting Cthulhu with a nuclear weapon. Yeah, sure, you'll kill him now, but he'll just respawn 5 minutes later, pissed off and covered in radiation. Anyways, Ariana 3 leads her fire team to the butchering of their lives, or I guess I would say unlives, and Eris Morn is the only one who survives. If you could call what Eris Morn went through surviving, like gouging out her own eyes so she could see in the dark, and then replacing them with Hive eyes, and now she has this really cool kind of bleedy mascara ghost wisp thing going on. I like Eris. She's hot, man. She's like creepy hot. You know, you just kind of want to hug her. Like, yeah, you want to hug her and you want to make her life better. I like Eris. She's cool. She's broken. You want to fix her. Anyways, moving forward. Also, at this time, Andalbrask is killed by Tanyx. Now, The interesting thing about Taniks is Taniks has no house, kneels before no banner, owes allegiance to no kell. He is a murderer and very good at what he does. Clearly, because he killed the Hunter Vanguard. And then sometime nebulously before the beginning of Destiny 1, we have two large events that we don't necessarily know where they fit in the timeline, but they need to be mentioned. Remember that awesome Titan Razilazir who united Guardians, stopped the faction war, and you hoped to live on happily ever after? Yeah, no, apparently like everything else in Destiny, that did not end well for him. He becomes Dredgen Yor. And we go through the entire story of Dredgen Yor, where he's eventually killed by Shin Malphur. Because he deserved it. We're not going to say he didn't. And the Ahamkara are hunted to extinction. So with all of that prehistory out of the way, that brings us to Destiny 1, where a random ghost finds a random guardian. But little did anybody know that this random guardian that this ghost randomly revives would be the savior of the universe. The chosen one who would fight the fallen, free Rasputin, where they would inevitably go to the moon and find a dark ritual being conducted by the Hive where they have a shard of the Traveler, and they're using the shard of the Traveler to drain the light from the Traveler, stopping it from healing and coming back to us. Not that any of that matters, because before we go into the depths of the moon to stop this dark ritual siphoning the light of the Traveler, we are invited, in fact, by a time traveler to go to Venus. They don't tell us why, they just send us coordinates. So, of course, we go. But after we go to the depths of the moon and stop this dark ritual and survive, because if we survive, then we should go to Venus. Once we go to Venus, we are introduced to a race of liquid glass, plankton-esque entities floating around in radiolorian fluid within brass Vex robot bodies. Their goal is to control all time and space so that they are a law of the universe. But a spunky Exo, who is actually Anna Bray's sister, dun dun dun, who has time traveled, has come back to warn us, to tell us to go seek out the heart of the Black Garden and rip it out. But before we can do that, we have to hook up with the Awoken Queen. Flying to the reef, we are introduced to the incestuous Lannister twins. I mean, the Queen of the Awoken and her bitch boy brother, Prince Uldren. This emasculated sassy motherfucker tries to cut our throat, but we could have taken him. And then his beautiful waifu material sister tells him to back the fun bus off. We then ask them, hey, fam, where's the Black Garden? And they're like, why would we tell you where the Black Garden is? And we're like, we want to go there and rip its heart out. And they're like, you want to turn it into a battlefield? How uninspired. And we're like, well, we kind of have to, so the Traveler will heal. And then the Queen's like, get a head of a Gate Lord. And we're like, why do you want the head of a Gate Lord? And they're like, we don't want it, but you'll need it, and we'll doubt you'll get it. And then we go get it, because fuck Uldren. Uldren, being a spiteful little bitch, fucking cleaves out the eye when we bring them the head, and he's like, oh, well, looks like it's broken. Which I think he broke because he's a dick. However, the Queen, knowing that her little brother is a treacherous, conniving, scheming little bitch boy, tells us how to find the Black Garden anyways. So we jump through a couple of arbitrary hoops, charge the Gate Lord's eye, enter the Black Garden, and kill the heart of the Black Garden. Everybody celebrates, but as the song goes,
Every end is a start. We will rise from the dark.
cue Dark Below. Eris Morn returns to the tower, and she tasks us with a quest. She wants us to take out the agents of Crota and stop the return of Crota, our world. Because if Crota comes to Earth, it's gonna be a bad day. So we go out and we assassinate his agents, and his big titty goth girlfriend, Omnigul. Then we go to the moon, and we dive into the Hellmouth, into the dark below, and we go to Crota's throne world, and we challenge him, with a sword, the cutting edge of a sword, and then we win, we kill Crota. And I'm sure, absolutely, positively, nothing bad will come of that.
Once I looked up at the stars. I was a guardian. I stood against the darkness. My eyes saw hope and a future full of light. 6 of you went down into the pit. You sought revenge for those I lost. You slew a god. Crota. With his last breath, he reached out across the night. And now, the night has answered. Oryx, Crota's father. He smells the blood of his son on your hands. Slain his brood. We have murdered his son. And now the Taken King comes for us all.
Oh, fuck. But before we could dive headlong first into the Taken King, Bungie had one more DLC to sell us, The House of Wolves, in which the Queen calls in that favor I mentioned earlier. See, the Queen's dumbass, instead of annihilating the fucking Xenos, like any intelligent human being would do after conquering them, decides, I'm going to enslave them. What's the worst that can— Oh.
We showed them mercy and offered them a home amongst the Awoken. They met that mercy with betrayal. Now, they will feel my wrath. Open the reef to the Guardians. Offer the riches of our realm as bounty for these traitors. Let the hunt begin.
I'm absolutely sure no one saw that coming. I mean, that'd be silly. Anyways, the Guardians of the City heed the Queen of the Awoken's call and decimate Skolas in the House of Wolves. We return Skolas to the Queen, who interrogates him, and find out that the 9 were behind it. Imagine my surprise. Fast forward a little bit, and Oryx comes looking for the son of a bitch that murdered his son. The Queen, after planning with Eris and Osiris, meet Oryx in the field of battle. And what's the worst that could— Oh, god damn it, it's always the worst. The Queen of the Awoken and her fleet are utterly decimated, but Oryx's fleet is also utterly decimated, and Oryx is kinda stranded in the rings of Saturn. Not being one to give up conquests and revenge, Oryx just goes to Phobos and starts taking things. In fact, Oryx kind of just goes all over the Sol system and starts taking all of the things. Because that Oryx guy is no quitter. Anyway, so we go to Phobos and we find out that Oryx is invading and he's taking things and shit is going sideways, so the Vanguard convene and they try to figure out what they're going to do. Cade suddenly leaves the meeting and he's like, I gotta go see a dude about a thing. Of course, those dudes that he's seeing about a thing are us and Amanda Holiday. So we go find a stealth drive that he's hid. Amanda Holiday retrofits the stealth drive to Erismorn's ship. What's the worst that could go? We blow up the ship, but we survive and we make a beachhead on the Dreadnought. But we're not the only one to do this. For you see, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, the Cabal, looking for information, looking for a way to kill the Guardians, decide, you know what would be a really great idea? This ancient Dreadnought Hive ship. We're gonna go ahead and crash a big fuck-off Cabal ship into the side of it and invade, because we hope, maybe, just maybe, that this big old fuck-off Hive ship might have information on how to kill Guardians within it. This plotline, mind you, is not used ever again. It has nothing to do with Destiny 2. Anyways, we penetrate the Dreadnought's defenses, turn off the main guns, plant a bunch of patrol beacons, and start kicking Oryx's ass. Also, the Cabal's ass, because we need to use the Cabal ship, which we assume has mapped the Dreadnought, to find a way to get to Oryx's bedroom. So we do that, and then we find a way to get to Oryx's bedroom. However, the door to Oryx's bedroom is locked. For you see, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, only the thickest of Ascended Hive may enter Oryx's bedroom. So we go to the Dark Below, we go to Crota's throne world, we steal his essence as a funeral pyre is being prepared for him by his sisters, and then we use the essence to trick Oryx's bedroom lock into believing that we are the thickest of Ascended Hive, and we enter his bedroom to call him out in the ways of old and use the sword logic to kick his ass. And because this is the player character, this actually goes as well as could be expected, meaning we kick his ass and send him hurling into his throne world. After we push Oryx back into his throne world, we scour his Dreadnought to find the pages of his diary, which essentially gives us the entire history of the Hive. The TLDR on this is we find out that the Hive descended from a short-lived race called the Krill, who millions, if not billions of years ago, lived in the orbit of a gas giant on a planet called Fundament, or a world called Fundament, or the remains of a world called Fundament. It's kind of nebulous if I remember correctly. Anyways, the TLDR of this is Oryx and his sisters, her sisters, their sisters at the time, were the children of the ruler of the Osmium Kingdom. Basically, the Osmium Kingdom was betrayed by Teox to the Helium Drinkers. The Helium Drinkers invaded. The children of the Osmium Kingdom, Savathun, Zivaroth, and Oryx were fucking exiled. They found a ship because they had a little fucking white worm, and the white worm whispered to them and told them, hey, you got this ship. You should use it. You should dive into the middle of the gas giant. What's the worst that could happen? Of course, the worst for at least the entire galaxy did happen, and they were implanted with the worm god larva. Now, of course, I'm skipping over a couple of things like the Leviathan and the Syzygy, which was caused by the Traveler, and really the only thing you need to know about the Syzygy and the Traveler was that's the reason that the Hive are hunting the Traveler across the universe and all of existence. So the sisters take the worms in, they get revenge against the Helium Drinkers, and then they force everybody to either convert to the worm gods by accepting our Lord and Savior, Worm Jesus, into their heart, quite literally, or die. After this, Oryx and his sisters tear across the universe for centuries upon centuries, killing everything they come across in the name of the sword logic and following the Traveler. I'm not going to go into everything that happened except one little story where Crota, tricked by Savathun, cuts a hole in the Immaterium and summons the Vex into our reality. Oryx, not really happy that his dreadnought is covered in Vex, kills the Vex, takes Crota, grabs him by the leg, throws him like a boomerang into a Vex portal, and tells him to come back victorious, or don't come back at all. Mind you, this is after Oryx goes and kills Akka, uses Akka's carcass to make the dreadnought, and Tablet of Ruins and kills his sisters multiple times, and yada 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 yada. Hive lore is amazing, go read it for yourself. Anyways, back to present day. So we go to the Court of Oryx, we enter the Court of Oryx, we enter Oryx's throne world, we challenge Oryx within his throne world, and we kick his fucking ass. Everybody celebrates, right? Right. That is until the Cabal try to blow up the Dreadnought, and Varix thinks it's a great idea to fill the Prison of Elders with Taken. Pro tip, not a great idea. And then the Fallen, tearing apart the Cosmodrome, find Siva, because of course they did. They then use Siva to take over the Cosmodrome. Saladin, realizing that one man cannot take on the entire Siva Fallen outbreak, comes to us and asks us singularly to take care of the... Wait a minute. Anyways, we go through the campaign, we stop the Siva replication chamber, we turn that off, we kill the Iron Lord meat puppets that are still there, and become Iron Lords ourselves, until Lord Saladin forgets that. We then complete the Wrath of the Machine raid, kill Axis, and stop the Fallen's use of Siva altogether. End of Destiny 1. Yay! Destiny 2 opens, and the player character is off in bumfuck Egypt. The Cabal attack the city. Why? Because they want to take the Traveler. And suddenly, the Cabal just so happened to know a lot about the Traveler. Not because the Cabal crash landed on the Dreadnought and studied their lore. No. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, that would make sense. No, it's because Gaul has been following, searching, and researching the Traveler for apparently hundreds of years. Gaul has come to take the Traveler's light because he fucked up. He done fucked up really bad. See, there was this guy Callus, and he was this Caligula-esque emperor of the Cabal. And Callus was not the greatest emperor. He thought he was the greatest emperor, but apparently some people didn't think he was the greatest emperor. Apparently some people liked war instead of hedonism. So they rebelled, and instead of executing Callus because they thought that would make people kind of upset, the people that loved Callus, they just put him on a pleasure barge and exiled him. What's the worst that could happen? Callus finds the darkness, the nothing, something, and becomes paracausal or all-powerful or something. I know he has robot bodies. Apparently, that's the worst that could happen. And it had Gaul shitting his dick. Anyways, Gaul comes to Earth, imprisons the Traveler in a cage, takes our light, and we get it back in like 2.5 seconds later because we go to the EDZ, and apparently we're the only one with the balls enough to go out into the dead zone and talk to the Traveler Shard and get the light back, and then we go and bring the band back together. This also doubles for a reintroduction to the Fallen, who are now under one house, the Vex, the Hive, the Cabal, and yada yada yada. Moving forward, in the process of bringing the band back together, we realize that basically Gaul has attached a kill switch to our sun, so if shit goes sideways for Gaul, he'll just detonate it and destroy everything. This is clearly not good, so when we make our plans to assault the city, to take back the Traveler, take back the Speaker, hopefully, maybe he's still alive, we don't know at this point, we decide, you know what, the Guardian, the awesome motherfucker that is us, will go to the sun and take care of this little kill switch. We do so without much trouble, and then head back to Earth and the city for the assault on Gaul's ship. The Counselor, not really happy that Gaul has been wasting his time speaking to the Speaker, who's a big fat fucking liar and has been lying to him the entire time, thus distracting Gaul from our badass self, going around and fucking up the Cabal's plans across the entire Sol system, gets really pissy, calls Gaul out in the way of old, and gets choked out like a little bitch. This is after calling Gaul a little bitch for not just taking the Traveler's light, because that's what Cabal do, and killing the Speaker. Vengeful, Gaul goes and takes the Traveler's light, but it's too late. We've boarded his ship and we are calling him out in the ways of old. We kick Gaul's ass, but he's absorbed so much of the Traveler's light that he ascends to a god. This prompts the Traveler to wake up and kick Gaul's ass. What's the worst that could happen? Oh. So in the ensuing blast of light, the Vex are finally able to figure out what light is. That's not good. The Traveler is blown to shit. And some weird pyramid ships outside the Milky Way galaxy now have an idea of where the Traveler is. I'm sure that'll end well. Look, I'm just saying if these pyramid ships come to the city like Gaul did and destroy our vaults, thus resetting us to a basic non-level level for Destiny 3, I may in fact lose my shit. Get it? Get it? Because all my stuff will be destroyed? Ha 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 ha! Don't do it, Bungie. Anyways, Osiris is chilling in the Infinite Forest in a simulation of the Vault of Glass, like a fucking baller. But the Vex can now see his light. Osiris, realizing that if Sagira is captured or destroyed, everyone is fucked, takes Sagira and throws her through a portal. Gasp, shock, Sagira is winged on the way out. Oh no, what will happen? Sagira is somehow found in the vast deserts of Mercury by Ikora's Hidden and taken back to Ikora. Ikora then contacts us and she's like, you're basically the only competent guardian in the entire world of Destiny, so could you do me a solid and go see what's going on with Osiris, see if he's alive, see if he's dead, you know, just check things out. Landing on Mercury, Brother Vance needs help, so we help him out and he's like, hey, you have Osiris's ghost Sagira? We can fix it! So, we fix it because we need entrance into the Infinite Forest and Sagira can help us. But Sagira possesses our ghost, which is a fun little side thing that happens. So then we go to the EDZ, conveniently the only Earth location in Destiny 2, and we find Osiris's hidden stash of where he has this thing. Anyways, like I said, it superimposes Sagira onto our ghost, we go back to Mercury, and we enter the Infinite Forest. Shenanigans go down, and we find out that there is this big fuck-off Vex named Panopsis who is going to orchestrate the end of the Sol system. In fact, his entire purpose is to destroy any and all timelines where the Vex do not win. That sounds way more interesting when I say it like that than it's presented in game, but clones of Osiris that are trapped within the Infinite Forest help us to track down Panopsis, only it was a plan by Panopsis to track us down so he could get Sagira for reasons? Anyways, long story short, this doesn't last long, and we go with Osiris to fight Panopsis. We destroy Panopsis, we get Osiris's ghost back, Osiris and Ikora make up, and then Osiris goes back into the Infinite Forest. The end. Oh yeah, and then there's this plot line that I kind of skipped when I was talking about Destiny 2 because it's so forgettable. It's called the Raid. So there's this dude, Callus, right? He's got this big fuck off ship. After we defeat Gaul, he invites us to come to his big fuck off ship to play his games, right? Well, we play his games and he's impressed with us, and that's kind of the end of that. Well, within the Curse of Osiris, turns out that eating Nessus, a world converted by the Vex and has been converted by the Vex for hundreds of years, was not a good idea. So, we have to go to Callus's Leviathan ship and perform the Heimlich maneuver on it. And then the last DLC for Destiny happens. Warmind, which is basically something, go to Mars for some reason, something, Anna Bray is actually alive, even though she should be dead. Something, ancient frozen hive army that had absolutely nothing to do with the collapse. Then something, Zavala is suddenly there. Then something, pissing contest between Zavala and Anna Bray, which is interrupted by Zul, a hive worm god. You think that killing this worm god would be hard, challenging. It would be the culmination of a raid. And you would be fucking wrong. So, something, go get a shard of the Traveler. Something, take it back to Mars. Something, go into the caverns of Mars and place the bait out, but only after killing Oryx's son, Nokris, who had nothing to do with the collapse, even though he's a hive god. Zul takes the bait of this shard of the Traveler, which really makes me wonder what the Traveler is going to do about this missing shard. He tries to kill us, but doesn't quite succeed, and we are on the hunt for Zul. But first, we must reactivate Rasputin's super special awesome Valkyrie weapon, which is one of the worst relics Destiny has ever introduced and does basically no fucking damage. But hey, Rasputin is this fucking omnipotent, awesome, cosmic power or something that we need his help. Anyways, so we activate the Valkyrie and we go and kill a hive worm god with a fucking stick. If that wasn't disappointing enough, the Raid, the Spire of Stars, is a game created by Calus. However, in the middle of this game, what is left of the Red Legion invades Calus's ship. This invasion force ruins our games, so we kick their ass and we defeat them and we push back the Red Legion and Calus is happy, and then the story just kind of goes nowhere. Womp womp womp. And that's it, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, the story of Destiny, more or less, probably less, but more or less. I did leave quite a bit out, but this isn't a comprehensive story guide. It was never meant to be a comprehensive story guide. It was just meant to be a little fun thing that I ranted about while drinking. I hope this was as amusing for you to listen to, because I don't think I'm going to do any video effects, as it was for me to make. At least in the time that the servers are down waiting for Forsaken. Anyways, let me know if you like this kind of video in the comments below. And like always, stay frosty.